For as long as I've played GTA Online, I always heard one argument and one argument alone, and this was of course, the payouts are shit, shark cards. Ladies and gentlemen, today it is time to actually have a look at this with actual facts, and year by year, if it actually became worse or easier for GTA Online to make money and actually get the most expensive stuff released in DLCs. Yes, we're going back, way back, all the way back to 2013 and 2014, and we're going to be breaking down what the most expensive vehicle was, what the most expensive car was, and how much you could be making per hour and how long it would take in order to purchase that most expensive vehicle and car. It is also worth noting, by the way, and I should definitely mention this as well, is the fact that I'm purely basing this on solo players who are not utilizing high demand cash bonuses and a whole host of variety of variables that are going to be in here. I find it very important to mention because obviously there are so many different ways how you could approach this, and hey, you know, if you optimize it this way or optimize it that way, this is more meant to be like a global kind of thing rather than just, being nitty gritty about everything, because I'm sure there's even better ways of making money if you have a buddy or two, but just for the sake of having a global idea of how exactly this is all going to go, that is exactly what I'm trying to accomplish here. Starting off in 2013. In 2013 and 2014, what you had was a wonderful thing called Rooftop Rumble. I'm sure you're familiar with it if you played the game since the start. If not, let me explain. Rooftop Rumble was essentially the method to make money back in 2013 because it was a relatively simple, easy mission, and you would be able to make $25,000 every time you complete it, and it would only take about 5 minutes. This mission was so notorious that Rockstar tried to patch it about 3 or 4 times to make it more quote-unquote difficult. Now, after many somewhat failed attempts from Rockstar to do so, and probably getting fed up with people making so much money from Rooftop Rumble, they decided to implement the patch 1.16, where we have the system that we have now, where everyone thinks it's a good idea to wait for say 15 minutes to get the max payout. For the last time, people, it doesn't work like that. It beats every form of logic and it makes no sense. Just complete the mission as quick as you can so you can start another one and make more money. While this patch did a lot of great things for the other missions in the game that weren't Rooftop Rumble itself suffers from it a little bit. But enough history lesson about that one, because the most expensive vehicle back in 2013 was the Titan, which was $2 million, and the most expensive car was the Adder. Now, in order to get yourself a Titan, it would take you about 8 hours to get it, and for an Adder, which is 1 million, you would have to take about 4 hours. Reason being is because if you were effective with it and taking loading times and having to call Martin again, because yes, back in 2013 you had to actually call your contacts in order to get a mission instead of going to a menu, which was later added in a few patches after, you were earning 250k per hour. Now in 2014, the Swift was released in the Flight School update, which was then the most expensive vehicle of that entire year. You had a nice little flying Bravo livery on it, which made it 100k more expensive, making it a $1.6 million helicopter for you to buy. The most expensive car was the Roosevelt for 750k. And this was of course released as a limited time car to be able to be bought in the Valentine's update. Now before the nerf during the Flight School update in August 2014, it would take you 6.5 hours to get the Swift and 3 hours to get the Roosevelt. Now after the nerf, stuff got a little bit more serious, because for the Swift you would have to take 14.2 hours to get it, and for the Roosevelt you would have to take 6.6 hours. Now this is probably why a lot of people were using money glitches back in the day and were more and more disgruntled with the way GTA Online was going, because 14 hours to get a helicopter, which isn't really all that special apart from the fact that it's really big and goes pretty fast, not that great. Luckily though, there was 2015 where stuff started to turn around, obviously also with the release of the Heist. Then for 2015 they also started doing some more event weeks, which actually is what you're used to today, where they would be start drip feeding some stuff and getting double cash and RP and some bonuses here and there. Hell, during the summer period of 2015 they had a week going on for every single heist and having double cash and RP for that. I still remember, because that was a very glorious time to make a lot of money back then. Now during the 2015 days, the most expensive vehicle that you could get was going to be a Hydra for $3 million. And the most expensive car was going to be a T20 for $2.2 million. Now, with the release of the Heist, there was also a switch in the meta of how well you could be making money. Because pack standard, if you were pretty decent at it, and on average, you would be taking 1.5 hours to complete it, and you would be walking away with $400,000 each. I'm saying each because you needed 4 players. Now, doing so would allow you to purchase a Hydra in 11.25 hours and a T20 in 8.25 hours. Now, you might be thinking, this is a little bit better than before. It is, but it does get better, luckily. Because if you were to be able to complete the Criminal Mastermind challenge alongside of the loyalty and also the all-in order bonuses, you'll be able to walk away with bonuses that can reach up to $12 million. The Criminal Mastermind challenge, for example, is $10 million. Maybe if you're watching and you never played the original Heist, and you didn't even know about the Criminal Mastermind challenge, there you go. There's $10 million waiting for you. All you need is 3 friends who don't know how to die, and you're fine. With that $12 million, you were basically able to purchase everything within the Heist update, as well as the fact that you would be able to be set for the next couple of DLCs that were going to come, especially the more expensive ones that was going to be the Ill-Gotten Gains 1 and 2. Now then it was time for 2016, and 2016 is definitely that year where a lot of stuff started to change because businesses were starting to be introduced within the game, and thus the meta was switching once again. Now, despite my personal really distaste with the thing that is called CEO crates, it was a good way of making money when it came out. However, the meta was in 2016, obviously the import and export plus the biker business, which would net you $384K per hour, and this is of course based on the coke, meth, weed and cash business. And the nice thing about this whole thing was the fact that the GTA Online finally became a lot more solo friendly, especially if you were to purchase supplies, which is the thing that I considered within these businesses, of course, because who wants to go around and running supplies really? And with it, of course, the prices of the vehicles did also take a spike up. I feel that in 2016 they were really trying to figure out how far they could go, especially with the release of the Ill-Gotten Gains back in 2015. They were trying to find the right balance with it. Now you could definitely see 2015, 2016, they were really trying to see like what would be the right balance in terms of how much you could make and how much you could actually ask for a car really. And with that they had the Ruiner 2000 thinking, you know what, we're gonna give this a try. With $4.3 million, it was the most expensive vehicle up until that point even, and the car that we're going to go for was also a new highlight. Well, low light for some people, I suppose, which was the RE7B for $2.4 million. Now, in order to earn all that money, you would have to play a total of 11.2 hours for the Ruiner, and for the RE7B, you would have to spend 6.25 hours in order to get that brand spanking new car with a lot of downforce before the nerf. Because, oh boy, that thing was... That was stuck to the ground quite well, yes. And to kind of take a short break in this, if you can already tell, the amount of money you can be making as a solo player is about the same as you could be doing in a group of 4, and also having to rely on more of RNG and loading times and whatnot. Because you have to remember that import and export and biker is all in free roam with a very little amount of loading times. Unless you get stuck in a black screen in the biker business, but whatever. Now in 2017, this meta was even further advanced for solo players with the introduction of the bunker, bumping up the amount of money you could be making in an hour to $440,000. With that said though, 2017, the most expensive car that you could be getting was the XA21 for $2.4 million, and the most expensive vehicle was the Deluxo for $3.5 million. And as you can kind of see, they're kind of hovering around the $2.5 million mark for the most expensive cars at this point, as well as the Deluxo getting that comfortable spot that we typically see nowadays with the $3.5 million mark for the weaponized vehicles. Meaning that with the new meta in 2017, the Deluxo would take you about 8 hours to do, and the XA21 would be taking you 5.5 hours to get. Now this doesn't even include the fact that the Doomsday Heist was also released in 2017 and could be played with 2 players. Now obviously there's a lot of you who are very familiar with the finale of Act 2. I'm very much judging you for doing so too, but with that said though, it was a very good way of making money with just 1 player. Hell, you could even do most of the stuff solo, and the only player you're really going to be needing is when you're going to have to start doing the setups. Now, getting 1 other friend with you isn't really all that difficult as far as I think at least, but obviously with the later introduction of the casino heist, stuff got even better, but we'll touch on that a little bit later. Now 2018 rolled around, and this was also time for another new meta because there was an introduction of the Nightclub. Now as a per hour basis kind of thing, it didn't change an awful lot. It added like 22k to the per hour solo thing, but it did bump it up to $462,000. And the most expensive vehicle was the Strike Force at $3.8 million, and the Entity XXR took the spot as most expensive car for $2.3 million. Now with this little bump in the meta, the Strike Force would take you 8.2 hours to get, and the Entity XXR would take you 5 hours to get. And again, not considering the heists that were released at that point. And then it was time for what is going to be the last year, which is going to be 2019, where the Krieger was reigning supreme and is the most expensive car and also the most expensive vehicle, sitting at a comfortable $2.9 million, which in today's meta will take you 6.2 hours to acquire with this solo method. Now, I should definitely mention the fact that the casino heist is a very valuable option for a solo player. The only reason why I didn't really include it in here is because for the finale, you're going to need an additional player. But even finding 1 random to help you out with that is definitely going to be a viable option, and it should net you about $700,000 to $800,000 or less, depending on how good your random is. So my personal opinion, pretty simple. Back in 2014, it took you 14 hours to get a Swift, which was $1.6 million. And if you scroll back to where we were in 2018 with a Strike Force costing you $3.8 million and only costing you 8 hours to get, you can definitely see that GTA Online and making money in it is definitely become a lot easier. Sure, it requires you to invest a little bit before you do so, but even outside of that, there's frequent discounts and double cash opportunities within the game these days that making money and investing into making money opportunities is definitely not very difficult at all. The main argument that I hear a lot is that shark cards are expensive and they don't really do anything, and the main thing that I personally think that is wrong with them is the value of them. $100 for $8 million these days is not going to cut it anymore. It's too expensive and there really needs to be a serious look into them, but we all know that is not going to happen. We all know all those wonderful loading screens that you see like, oh hey look, here's a shark card bonus for 150% bonus. Here's a shark card discount. Everything like that is basically probably, but not really, an effort into making the shark cards more valuable. If you're someone that buys shark cards, thanks. You basically funded all the DLCs that we got over the years. Having said that though, there is a very big devaluation within these shark cards, and it never really caught up with all the new prices within the game. If you're for example looking at the Deluxo at $3.5 million, non-upgraded, you would be able to only buy 2 of them with the $100 shark card, which, in my opinion, is a little bit undervalued. Personally, I'd say that the shark card value should be at least double to 16 million, if not to 20 million for $100, because then you would have the same kind of value as you had back in 2013 when they were first introduced. But right now, in 2020, these shark cards are simply not going to cut it. They're too expensive for the little amount of money that you get, and while that's fine, and I personally don't really think that you need to purchase shark cards at all, especially if you play a few hours every week, you don't need to do anything. All you need to do really is utilize double cash, RP methods, and all that good stuff during those weeks that they are good. For example, right now in the casino heist, there's bonus cash going on at the time of recording. It really just shows that there is plenty of opportunities for you to make money within the game, and that purchasing shark card is basically pointless unless you're someone who works like 60-hour jobs or whatever and has no time to spend playing some video games because there's a wife also nagging you that she wants attention. Sure, GTA Online takes a lot of time to make the amount of money to get all the new DLCs, but with little time investments and just being very strategic about how you make your money, it's not all that hard. Personally, I don't grind. I don't do that stuff. The only way I really make my money is whenever there's a good double cash NRP thing going on. I let my bunker idle for a little bit and I make $2 million. That's really all you gotta do. But of course, I'd love to know what you think in the comments down below. Please do keep it civil. I really don't want to be sitting there, shark cards, payouts. It's probably what the comment section is going to be like, but hey, I guess I kind of brought it on myself. With all that said, with all that done though, thank you all so very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and I'll see you all later.